All right, let's jump right into a really high-stakes foreign policy debate that's facing the U.S. administration. You've got these massive protests shaking Iran, and it's put the White House at a serious crossroads. They're weighing a decision that could have, well, enormous consequences for the Middle East, and really for the whole world.
And look, the stakes, they couldn't be higher. As one panelist put it, the administration has a chance to, and I quote, do something here that could change geopolitics forever. I mean, wow. That one line really captures the immense weight of the choice that's on the table right now. So, okay, let's dive into this whole situation.
So, what's actually driving this whole debate inside the White House? Well, it all starts with what's happening on the ground in Iran. We are witnessing a truly critical moment unfold, and it's forcing the United States to kind of step back, reevaluate its position, and figure out what role it should play, if any at all.
I mean, what we're seeing here are millions of young people pouring into the streets all across the country. This is not just some small, isolated protest. No way. It's a massive, widespread movement that a lot of commentators believe has the real potential to destabilize a regime that's held power for 46 years.
And you can bet this is not going unnoticed. President Trump himself confirmed just how serious this is, stating in no uncertain terms, "We're looking into some very strong options." Now, that's a clear signal that the White House is actively working on a response.
And that brings us to the central question, right? What exactly are these strong options he's talking about? Is this all-out war, or is it something else entirely? Well, it turns out it's not a simple yes or no decision. It's actually a whole spectrum of potential actions.
So let's break down what's actually on the table here, from the economic moves all the way to more direct intervention. Okay, so the first move was an economic one. The president announced this huge 25% tariff on any country that's doing business with Iran. It's a really clear attempt to squeeze the regime financially, to isolate them. But, when we start talking about military options, it's really important to get this one thing straight. It's not just about a full-scale invasion. As one panelist explained, the choices are far from this binary, this black and white choice of doing nothing or putting boots on the ground. There's actually a whole range of possibilities in between. So a good way to think about it is like a ladder of escalation. It starts on the first rung with economic pressure, right? Like those tariffs. From there, you could climb up to cyber operations targeting the regime's infrastructure. Then another step up could be more direct, targeted strikes, say against groups like the Revolutionary Guard Corps. And then potentially all the way to the top of the ladder, direct military support for the protesters on the ground. But here's where it gets really complicated. Deciding which of those steps to take, if any at all, isn't just a simple foreign policy calculation. Oh no, this issue is exposing a deep, crucial division right inside the president's own party. See, on one side, you've got your traditional hawks. Think figures like Senator Lindsey Graham, who are pretty eager for the U.S. to get involved. But then, on the other side, you have the core America First base, and they're deeply skeptical of getting tangled up in another Middle Eastern conflict. They'd much rather focus on issues at home. And hey, this isn't just some outside observation. Panelists who were discussing the whole situation, they stated it plainly. They said, and I'm quoting here, there is this schism within the Republican Party, within the MAGA base. And that right there, that makes the internal politics of this just as important as what's happening on the world stage. So the America First perspective, it really boils down to a few key questions. Why get tangled up in the Middle East again? They see this as a totally different scenario from, say, Venezuela, where the argument was that it's in our backyard. There's a real, genuine concern about pouring energy and resources into other countries instead of focusing here at home. Okay, so with that deep political divide as the backdrop at home, let's zoom back out to the global stage for a second. Let's really get a handle on why this decision carries so much weight for the entire geopolitical landscape. To really grasp the stakes here, you just need to focus on one single number, 46. 46 years. That's how long the current Iranian regime has been in power. So for those who support intervention, they see this as a historic, maybe once-in-a-generation opportunity to help the Iranian people end what one panelist called a 46-year regime of terror and murder. The potential outcome here is just immense. Think about it. If these protests succeed, with or without U.S. help, it wouldn't just change Iran. It could fundamentally redraw the entire map of power and influence across the Middle East. And that brings us right back to that quote from the beginning, doesn't it? About changing geopolitics forever. So, when you put it all together,
You take that deep political division happening at home and you combine it with these massive stakes on the world stage. You arrive at what can only be described as a legacy-defining choice for this administration.
Ultimately, how the president navigates this whole thing, choosing between the interventionist wing of his party and his America First base, it's not just going to determine U.S. policy towards Iran. No, this single decision is pretty much destined to become a serious, major part of his legacy. And so that leaves us with the one core question that's at the heart of this entire debate. Is this a historic opportunity to support a popular uprising and reshape a volatile region for the better? Or is it a dangerous intervention that risks getting the U.S. stuck in another costly foreign entanglement? The answer to that, well, it's going to define more than just a policy. It's going to define an era.